Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Secret Wars 2015 Tradeback Review. Oh, when everything ends, there's only Secret Wars. The multiverse has collapsed, only two realities remain. Now the Marvel Universe and the Ultimate Universe will collide. The heroes of each Earth will fight to save their homes, and they will fail. But out of nothing will come an incredible patchwork planet formed from the remnants of lost worlds. Realms filled with faces you know, only different. A place of strict borders, where law and order is maintained by an army of Thors, and cinders are thrown to the unholy terrors behind the shield. A battle world in constant conflict, with all that came before consigned to myth and legend. And holding it all together is the iron will of one man, with power from beyond that makes him a god. What hope has humanity when its only salvation is doom? Now, I went to get this because we're seeing a lot of the MCU being influenced by this. We're getting Doom, and I kind of had been interested into seeing Hickman's kind of stuff, and I really was interested and liked what was kind of going on in here. Jonathan Hickman's the writer. We have Esad Ribic as the artist, and it's a really different kind of thing. I understand why people were calling this kind of like Game of Thrones with what was kind of set up and everything, but this is a very Doom-centric kind of thing. The Fantastic Four are very central to this, and it kind of works out because they were having the whole kind of disputes there of like Fantastic Four rights, and they kind of gave a giant kind of conclusion here of what was going on, while also kind of rebooting and resetting the Prime Marvel Comics universe and ending the Ultimate one. So we kind of start off kind of seeing what's kind of going on as we see that like Doom, Strange, and Molecule Man are kind of dealing with something. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? And of course bringing on like the Beyonders and everything, and Doom's like, I stand before you, asshole. And then we kind of go back and we see that the Maker, who is the Ultimate Universe version of Reed Richards, pretty much is trying to task them with kind of taking out and fighting the main universe, while also working with Thanos. And it's like, yeah, I'm just getting them to give enough time. Like, the Maker's a real asshole. And then the first one kind of deals with the whole kind of carnage and craziness. That's fucking awesome there. As we see each of our forces kind of fighting, we see that Reed and the Fantastic Four are building kind of an arc for their kind of people. And they're trying to get as many people out as possible. We see the Ultimates fighting the Avengers. Everything's going to complete and utter shit as this incursion is going down. We see that Punisher's in play, Sam's in play. We were getting the Phoenix Force kind of cracking out. It's definitely going kind of weird there. We see Spidey and Carol. Spidey, Carol, Star-Lord, the Thing, Jane, Thor, going on with that. And they're trying to kind of get out, but shit starts getting kind of nutty. And Sue and a good chunk of the Fantastic Four kind of get ripped out. And Reed tries to go and get them back, but of course everything just kind of collides, and you're like, what the fuck? And that's kind of the end. And then of course we see Doom, and it's like, what is he doing? What has occurred? And of course showcasing the death of the Marvel Universe and the Ultimate Universe at the same time in 2015. Second one pops us in and pretty much shows us what is kind of going on in this realm, getting an understanding of the Thor Corps as we see one initiate kind of brought in, as we see them. He also then gets brought up with this kind of older one, kind of veteran, rookie kind of cop. And that's kind of cool as we see them worshipping Doom, and it's like, what the fuck? Calling him God, and of course God Emperor Doom and everything. Definitely what he would be doing out there. And then giving us pretty much the creation myth of Battle World. That there was nothing, God Doom created the light, and pretty much showcasing what's kind of going on and how they kind of worship him. We also get the power pack, are then with Dragon Man, are pretty much exploring and trying to figure out what's kind of going on. Valeria is pretty much in charge of doing those kind of things, and they're trying to find... They find this weird kind of thing. It's like one of the ships. It's like, what? We also then get into the interpolitics that the battle world is kind of... Let's see here. Because we get Sinister pretty much fucking with Britannia. We get... not Britannia. Captain Britain's realm. Strange is kind of the sheriff, which is like the hand of Doom. Doom's using Yggdrasil as pretty much his chair. We got Franklin working with Galactus. Where is it? Here, showcasing that it's all of these different realms turned into one kind of world. But we kind of focus mainly... This was such a kind of big event that this focuses mainly on the main story of Doom and what's kind of going on there, rather than anything else. For that other kind of stuff, you go into like the battle world kind of stuff and any kind of alternate universe that would be kind of like affected by that. Like Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, House of M War Zones, all that kind of weird stuff. So I think that works out because it does more value add than being like, I need to know what's going on here. But we see that, like, this is pretty much a petty squabble with Sinister, as he was pretty much just fucking with the Captain Britain family. And he almost kills this one dude, but Doom's like, eat my ass. I'm God Doom. Fuck you. And, of course, there's resistance and everything kind of going on in Braddock's realm. However, the head of Braddock's realm decides to take the fall for this and gets thrown off this kind of shield wall, similar to Game of Thrones. But see, there's like a separation as he's fighting like the Marvel zombies, symbiotes. Ultron has like his army there doing shit. Let's see. Zombie Horde, the Annihilation Wave, Ultron AI, everything going nutty. And the Thor Core dude's like, what the fuck? And then we see that everything kind of starts going nutty because one of the people that was digging up that one thing's like, I'm gonna touch it. And it's like, God, why'd you do that? And of course we find out that this is not the one that we thought it was, and instead contains Thanos and the Maker in play, and they just kill the shit out of like a good amount of Thors. Well, the old Thor and everything. And of course we see the Maker making his moves and shit. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. And then we kind of see more of what's kind of going on. That Strange has to deal with these kind of quarantine events, keeping him out of play. And how they kind of work around. Strange pretty much giving him details of what's going on in the world. And he's just like, fuck this shit. Why are we doing this? You are omnipotent, not omniscient. The danger to your throne in this world, the last world, comes from what we do not know. And of course, we start getting inklings that things are a little bit different than what we appear. So we'll have to see what goes on. Strange, of course, is trying to see what's kind of going on. And they attempt to find pretty much Thanos and the rest of the ones kind of going on. But we see that Miles survived as well. He's like, what the fuck? Talking about how it's not his ship. Because, like, another world had appeared in the sky and everything. Are you telling me you remember? And, of course, Doom has pretty much tried to wipe out all of the existence of anything that had come before this world. I mean, he's taken fucking Reed Richards' family. He's married to Susan Storm. Valeria is trying to figure out what's kind of going on. I mean, Franklin... I mean, look at Doom's face there. Shit. is guarding shit with Galactus. It's like, oh god. So we see Strange starts plotting things and trying to figure out what's kind of going on here. And I do like that it's got different kind of lettering, because it kind of fits the difference between the like main Marvel characters in the 616 and then the Ultimate one. But we see that they had found another ship, and they open it up, and that's where our 616 are: Star-Lord, Thor, Captain Marvel, and Spidey. I love it. Hey, Peter, is that you? Miles? Yeah, no way. How are you here? They're like, I don't know what's kind of going on here. We see Cyclops is like, holy shit, we got Black Panther and Reed in play. And they're like, oh god. Saying that it's like 8 years. Of course, he brings up that it's Doom. Everybody's like, fuck, that ain't good. Steven, how long ago did you find our raft? 3 years ago. I suppose I knew there was something inside of great consequence, but I had to weigh that against other things. And Reed's like, are you shitting me? It's easier to explain, Reed. He's very good at playing God. Then we start seeing Thanos and his group trying to figure out what they need to do next. They kind of play in the background, but the Thors are like, yeah, we're gonna fuck with you, asshole. And that really doesn't work out, as he starts cracking shit. The Maker pretty much goes off on his own to kind of do his own shit. They pretty much explain that Doom took the powers of the Beyonder. We killed them and took their power for ourselves. I looked into the abyss that was omnipotence and ran from it. Doom did not. Then he saved all there was. All that there was left to save. Talking about how a small portion of Wakanda. Cyclops is not a happy camper. We do see one Thor pretty much trying to explain to Doom what's kind of going on with Thanos. Of course, Richardson sees that Doom sees Richardson in play, and it's like, shit. And of course, the Phoenix up Cyclops tries to take down Doom, but that doesn't really work, as he then cracks the neck. Steven tries to kind of like work his magic and scatters them, and of course, Doom does not play that and decides to annihilate his ass. It's like, this isn't good. How are our heroes going to do this? And we see that Owen Reese Molecule Man has been portrayed that he's dead, because we see this kind of elaborate tomb for Strange, which is, of course, next to Molecule Man. We see that they want vengeance, and Valeria starts pretty much going kind of Sherlock mode to try and figure out what's kind of going on. Doom, of course, visiting upon Owen, and Owen's like, I need something to eat. It's like, okay, and he's not really giving him anything. Saying that the Beyonders, they built universes, random ideas giving form, they tested them, they twisted life in every shape possible, they pushed it as far as it could go, and then they got bored with life and started loving the idea of death. Sometimes you've tinkered all you can, and the only thing left to do is tear it all down and start over. So then they made me. Yes, you. Owen Reese, the Molecule Man. A bomb built to destroy a universe. Not a bomb, the bomb. Bomb, 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 bomb. And set me off and watch me explode. And I kind of like this, because we still get character stuff and movement in here, even though it's kind of exposition-y. Of course, getting more into the whole Black Swan kind of thing. And of course, they drew them out, destroyed them, and stole the Beyonder's power. Utilizing Molecule Man as a conduit, Steven. Together we can save the remnants of the world. The scale of it, the scope. How do you choose what lives and dies? It's too much to fathom, Victor. It's too much. I can't. You have to do it. It's like, no, you don't give Doom that shit. Which, again, we'll have to see again because one world under Doom. So we see that Valeria is like, yeah, my father told me not to do this, but we're gonna explore what's kind of going on here. Of course, looking into different realms, seeing what's kind of going on. And we see that Thanos is pretty much near the shield wall. And of course, we see that 3 weeks later, things are not going that well. They've only gotten 2 of the Black Order from Thanos' retinue. Let's see. We see that Reed is working with the Maker, which Reed is not stupid. We do see that he... You don't trust the Maker, and Reed doesn't either. It's like, yeah, screw you. And it's funny because the Spideys kind of look into the kind of power source for Owen Reese, and the thing that like helps is that Miles has had a burger in his pocket. Okay, so that's a 3-week-old hamburger. Yeah, and oh man, he shouldn't eat that. Oh, so good. He hasn't eaten anything in probably like 8 years. And of course, he kind of thanks him for it, and that leads to Miles being put into the Marvel Universe proper. We see that there's like an army being raised by this weird-ass dude. We see that also T'Challa is pretty much working to try and get the Infinity Gauntlet. Because they had actually built it upon, like, Doom's kind of region, upon the place where that Infinity Gauntlet was brought together for. It's like, oh shit. And that gets crazy. We also see the changed up history of the Fantastic Four, and it's like, what happened to Ben? Because she's telling the story, Susan's telling the story, and that Reed has pretty much been taken out. And we learn that Ben has been utilized as the shield wall, and Thanos pretty much talks him into pretty much going up against Doom, which is kind of crazy and nutty seeing him like that. So then things start really getting to a head as this Maximus asshole dude starts pretty much getting everything into a kind of strange-ass state where everybody's pretty much fighting. They're pretty much getting flown into dealing with Owen as T'Challa's pretty much takes control of these zombies because he's like the king of the dead. It's like, oh, that's fucked up. And it's funny, they're like, why do we need to listen to you? Oh, okay, fuck it. Yeah, alright, glory and honor, whatever the fuck's going on here. Let's see. So the Barons pretty much were trying to do some power grabs and shit, but they start getting kind of like tussled all together. Thors are fighting Thors because of what's kind of going on and what's kind of been learned. Because Jane's like, fuck you assholes. We see all these fucking, the Maestro's Hulk squads pretty much popping up into the battlefield. It's like, oh god, that's a really cool page there. Spidey doing this shit. We see fucking Ben just pop up. It's like, this is nuts. As he then starts fighting fucking Galactus asshole. It's like, that's not gonna end well. And it really doesn't. And of course, Franklin is the one to pretty much take him out, which is really fucking sad. And Valeria is pretty much able to show her mother everything about Owen Reese as they kind of link up with the two, Reed and the Maker. Thanos then comes onto the field, and we get one of the most iconic pages ever, as Thanos is like, fuck you, man, and he rips his fucking, like, his entire skeleton from him, and it's just like, oh my god, that's insane. But then we see that was just enough as the zombies start pouring in, and T'Challa pops up with an Infinity Gauntlet to have one of the craziest fights ever with Doom, and the art really sells it as they start like changing his forms and stuff. T'Challa and Namor fighting together is kind of crazy, as we see him utilizing the Infinity Gauntlet as anything he can. And Reed, of course, is trying to talk to Susan about what's going on. This one's nuts. As we see Doom huge, we see Panthers and shit going on. It's like, oh my god. And we see that the Maker, of course, attempts to fuck over Reed. However, Reed then kind of is... Since the Maker is kind of focused on him, Owen just fucking slices him up and eats his ass. It's like, oh god, that's fucked up. T'Challa then starts kind of getting his ass whooped before he starts figuring out what's kind of going on and goes to check in and sees that Reed is in play. As we then see the pretty much climactic fight, the last one of Reed and Doom. Because since Reed wasn't there with the whole kind of Beyonder thing, that's insane, man. And Doom's like, you think you could have done so much better, don't you? Don't you? Yes, and we both know it, don't we? Yes, damn you. Now die. Okay, then, if you both agree... Wait, no! And of course, that's the fuck-up that happens. Everything kind of changes up. We see that T'Challa is utilizing the Soul Stone, and we pop back in. As we're at Wakanda, he's checking in to see what's going on, and we see that everything's kind of back to more normal. 8 months later, the Marvel Universe, the Prime Earth, as we see, of course, Owen was thanking Miles for the burger, and sees them both, Miles and Peter, swinging in New York. It's like, oh god. Of course, he's got his mom, and they both want to fight. And this is where we see the kind of Fantastic Four end off for a little bit, as we see that Reed and Franklin are making universes again, creating the multiverse again, splitting off Owens, and this is where it kind of ended off. They leave Ben and Johnny to their own devices, and we see that Doom has a healed face, as he's laughing and everything. We then see all the different kind of covers with this, and kind of can, let me see, just a little bit more explanations of what's kind of going on with certain kind of things, as Valeria was kind of trying to see what was occurring with everything, trying to explain everything. So, this was kind of nutty. I mean, I know it's kind of weird to kind of go within the trade back like this, but this was an interesting kind of end cap to that kind of era. And I think this would have been better for the MCU to follow this kind of thing after we've gotten other kind of things kind of settled in as an end cap to reboot the universe. I did like that it kind of changed up stuff. It is not a complete retelling of the original Secret Wars or like Secret Wars 2. This is down to what was occurring, even kind of seeing the kind of political kind of intrigue at the time with like Game of Thrones, since people were like into that, and seeing that really influence this without being kind of like blatant kind of ripoffs, but utilizing the core work of the Marvel Universe of having certain kind of families controlling certain kind of places of the battle world. You got the Thor Corps as pretty much your Night's Watch. You've got Ben as the Shield Wall dealing with like zombies and the Annihilus Wave and Ultrons and everything like that. While Doom does have his foibles, he has power, but he's not omniscient. Strange kind of working around the scenes and seeing the Maker kind of in play. you need that, especially because of how important he is in the Ultimate Universe. And then I've got some other kind of stuff to kind of get into as well, because this dovetails into what was going on with the relaunch of the Ultimate Universe. I think there was a nice handle on the characters. Peter, Miles felt pretty well. Hickman has been weird for me because what I read from him at first was like the Avengers run that started off the kickoff of this to this kind of conclusion. And I was like, okay. Then I read the stuff with like gods, and I've been hearing some good stuff about what's been going on with the Ultimate line. I'm like, okay, let me kind of look into this a little bit more and see what's kind of going on. This, I liked his handle of the characters of like Reed Richards, Doom, Strange, Owen Reese, the Spideys and everything. Ribbick's art does a lot of like epicness and gravitas. It's mainly down to faces that sometimes look a little bit weird, with like the same kind of weird surprised expression that just kind of freaks me out. If they're just kind of normally doing shit, I'm kind of alright with it. Kind of like here. Alright, but then certain times it's like, what the fuck is kind of going on here? I still enjoy it, and the action scenes are usually very well done. I mean, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. And just actually really selling that Doom, given the opportunity, stole everything from Reed Richards because he's that petty of an asshole. He's attempting to save the universe, and what does he do? He steals his wife, his children, fucking uses Johnny Storm as like the sun, utilizes Ben as a shield. He's just a fucking asshole. I mean, yeah, you kind of save shit, but you fucking weren't able to fix things. And that's what Reed is able to do at the end. Ergo showing that Doom isn't the best. And it's really kind of cool because then later on afterwards, when they relaunched the Fantastic Four later on, I liked exploring that kind of realm with Reed, Sue, Valeria, and Franklin, and then getting back and linking up with Ben and Johnny and everything. So it's kind of cool to kind of go back through that. I don't know how they're going to be utilizing this with the MCU, because they've been laying groundwork for Kang. They don't have as much runway unless they make more runway and push things out and really build up Doom, because the first time we're going to have Doom, to my knowledge, is going to be the Fantastic Four movie, which doesn't give us a lot of headroom to like link him up to this kind of level. You really needed to link him up what we'd been doing with Thanos. He needs to be done in the beginning and to make this powerful. This only has power once you know the history of Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. And also the history of like Secret Wars adds value to this because we've already dealt with the Beyonder. This amps it up for him taking the power of the Beyonders and what he's attempting to do with that, and how he's just feels so inferior to Reed Richards, and that's his fucking Achilles heel. It is weird with Reed to have a beard, but it's also like, okay, it's kind of like Johnny with a mustache. I am not for or against, though I understand how annoying it can be. So, would I recommend this? Yes. This is a nice one that really gets into like a change up of like explaining and exploring the world, while then also showing action and everything. I do think that I would say that it's more dialogue and exposition heavy than most other things going on. You kind of need it to be that, though. So if you're not that much into that and want kind of just more of an action octane kind of event, Blood Hunt, I think, would be a better one, even though that's more kind of recent, looking into other kind of events as well, like Siege or whatnot, so you have more of a balance of action. This is definitely more dense of dialogue and exposition, and if the way it's executed doesn't jive with you, I completely understand that. I think that's down to Hickman's style, and I at first was not into Hickman's style either, mainly because of how he was writing certain kind of characters. However, I kind of liked what he did with Gods. We'll get into other kind of ones as well. So if you're not into this, I totally understand it and would be like, okay, look at it. See if you want to look into any kind of other Hickman stuff to see if his style is for you before committing to this. This was like $34.99 US. This collects Secret Wars 1 through 9 and Free Comic Book Day 2015 Secret Wars issue 0. So, yeah, I liked it. Thought I got my money's worth out of it, and am kind of prepared to see how this kind of is worked upon in the MCU. So those are my opinions on the Tradeback. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.